What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to another episode of Devin the Bear. So to get right into it, we have last night's card, which, I mean, it's hard not to give it like a Fight of the Year candidate with Max Holloway and
Rodriguez.
Thank you. I wanted to say, I don't know what the fuck I wanted to say, to be honest with you. I don't know why that name just slipped my mind. It was a good fight, but what sucks about it being such a good fight is it happened like a week after Chandler versus Gaethje.
Yeah. Chandler and Gaethje, we were spoiled, and it kind of takes the steam out of the excitement of what Yair and Max put on, but it was still really good. And the card was mostly finishes, just like the card before with Gaethje and Chandler.
Yep.
So that's really good. It's really exciting.
We saw a lot of great finishes start off the card as well. What's it called? I want to say that Dong Un Jung, he won by a knockout with elbows just to start off the card. I always love when cards start off like that, but I get kind of worried because it's like, man, there's probably going to be a lot of fucking decisions. But that wasn't the case. We got a couple in there, but I mean, we saw Mark Diakis, he lost by submission to Rafael Alves, and then Andrea Lee puts on a performance of the night, defeating Cynthia Calvillo, which I'm a big fan of Andrea Lee. I'm not a big fan of Cynthia Calvillo, so I was cool with that. And
Man, how long has Andrea Lee been fighting?
For a long time, it feels like.
It
was crazy. She's only 32.
Really?
Yeah.
And she was like, I think, one of the pioneers before Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, she was kind of coming in. She's been fighting since 2014. She fought in Invicta.
Really?
Yeah, she's been fighting since 24, 7 years. She just had a lot of hype coming in with her because she was
nothing like I thought.
Because what it was is because she was the over at Invicta, like I was saying, like because with Invicta it's just pretty much just a straight women's league of fighters, and so she was the top dog over there for a while, and then she was bouncing back and forth between LFA and Invicta. Comes to the UFC and does really well, but I mean,
she started. I'm sorry to cut you off again.
No, you're good.
She started in Invicta in 2014.
Her first fight was GFA, but like once she started kind of get the ball rolling, it was in Invicta, and she kind of bounced around between Legacy and Invicta.
But she started her MMA career in 2014.
Yeah.
That's weird. I thought she had been fighting for so much longer than that.
I know that she did suffer with a pretty bad loss streak going on for a minute. She had 3 straight losses, and then that's when she came in. She submitted Antonina Shevchenko. She kind of put, that's when, which I think she needed because she lost a lot of hype, you know, because Andrea Lee was supposed to be the next big thing, especially her being at 125. That was supposed to be her weight class. And then, of course, Valentina comes in and just says, nope, you're not getting that. And so we saw Yoel Alvarez knock out Thiago Moises. I mean, I feel bad for Thiago Moises. He fights nothing but killers, dude.
He needed that win. He needed a win there, and he needed it to be a good one because he put on a pretty good streak. He was looking really good. They weren't maybe all exciting fights, but he's looking good. He didn't have a lot of hype behind him, though. And then he lost to Islam, so he needed this one to be a win, and he got put down. Yeah,
what sucks even more about it is Yoel Alvarez missed weight, and it always sucks because he put on a great performance, but just anytime you ever miss weight, it just puts an asterisk over what you did, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, damn, like he wasn't like, because I don't know.
It's just like the Vittori and Paulo Costa fight. Like as much as I liked that fight and was excited for it, the whole thing was ruined because neither of them. Well, Costa didn't even come close to.
Didn't even attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He fought it the same weight as Stipe.
Dude, they asked fucking Paulo Costa. This guy's an idiot. They're like, so why do you think was the cause for your weight miss? This is recently. He's like, well, I've been doing a lot of weight training, and I've been eating and just doing a lot more of that instead of cardio. And everyone's like, no shit. Then why do you think you put on weight?
Yeah.
You're already a big guy, and you're just strictly doing powerlifting and stuff like that. You're gonna put on fucking weight.
You don't know how to cut weight. You don't know it's your job to end up making a specific weight. And then when they asked him about 185, he's like, what? Who signed this? Who said that? Who said 185? There's no 185.
Then after that, Dana White said last night that they're actually beefing.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues going on with him because I think he wants to stay at 185.
Oh, I'm sure he does because he's not going to handle the people at 205.
Because the thing is, he's really high up ranked over in middleweight, and that's exactly what they're going to do over there. He's going to be fighting guys like Magomed Ankalaev and fucking, I mean, the easiest fight he could take is probably going to be Volkan Ozdemir. and that's not even a good fight. That's not even a good fight for Paulo Costa. But I mean, that's the easiest fight he'll get. Besides that, he's gonna fight nothing but killers over there. So I don't know, man. But I mean, it was all around a really good card, though. We saw Song Yudong come in and get a TKO over Julio Arce. I was excited to see that. I'm a big fan of Song Yudong.
Me too. I know I had Julio picked. I just thought it was his time.
Yeah.
And it was Song's.
Bet on red, man.
Yudong.
But it was, I'm a big fan of him. He always puts on really, really good fights. But just kind of looking at, like, Julio's, like, when it comes to him losing, it seems like it's more of pressure that he really can't handle too well. And that's where and even though he does get in some dogfights, I felt like Song had that edge. So I picked him by submission because I always, on the Verdict app, I always like to pick what can multiply my points and give me the highest points. But it was all around a good fight. Then we saw Chaos Williams come back with a really good knockout over Miguel Baeza.
That was a really good fight. It was very back and forth. I think I had Chaos picked by decision because I was thinking that Baeza would be able to kind of stand his ground a little bit more. Yeah. When he did throw, he was connecting and he looked good.
Yeah.
But he's a little too timid. You can't be that timid against Chaos, otherwise you're going to end up getting overwhelmed and caught.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. They were in the middle of an exchange and he got caught, but
yeah,
it was dirty.
It's also like, because we talked when we watched it, is that he was doing a lot of louder movements, moving to Chaos's left, and it kind of did mess with Chaos a little bit, but the problem too is whenever he would come in with him, like engage with him, he would just drop his hands and go straight up with it to be the taller fighter. Which, even though you're trying to be the taller fighter against a guy who has a lot more power than you, and that's exactly what we saw. Chaos landed a nice right hand in the third round after. I mean, he wobbled him in the first round, pieced him up in the second. It was pretty much Chaos's fight the entire time. It looked like it was going to be a decision fight, but I'm a big fan of Chaos Williams. And so I was happy to see that. Yeah. Dude, he's a fucking beast, man. His name's Chaos. Come on.
Look, I'm a big fan as well. I don't think that was his fight the whole time, though. He was getting rocked, too.
Yeah, he did get tagged. He caught a really good front kick in the second round.
He got dropped a couple times. Mm-hmm. It was a really good fight, but definitely Chaos wasn't ever at any point looking
superhuman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was always pretty solid. It never looked bad.
Yeah.
Even when he got caught, he was pretty quick to recover.
Yeah.
Without really losing too much on defense.
Their flurries, whenever they were engaging, were fun to watch too. Yeah. Though it was really, really good. Then we saw Felicia Spencer come back after a couple losses. She came back and she beat Leah Letson by TKO. Leah Letson had a pretty long way. She hadn't fought in like 2 years, coming back to fight a former title challenger and fucking Felicia Spencer. And Felicia Spencer has really, really good, really strong background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and kickboxing. I mean, she's pretty much trained extensively in like multiple types of disciplines.
Yeah.
And so
she's an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
She's an MMA fighter.
Which but it was good to see her come back and get a win, especially because I mean people were probably already writing her off. I know I was, to be honest with you. I was pretty kind of dead set that she's just kind of there. But she worked for the finish. I mean, she got the finish in the third round, and that's always really, really good to see that a fighter is still trying not to leave it in the judges' hands, you know. So, yeah, then probably for I thought this was knockout of the night, was Marcos Rogero de Lima defeating Ben Rothwell by knockout.
Yeah, it was a really fun one. Some weird, I don't think it was controversial at all, but... Yeah. People like to pretend it is, I guess, and make drama out of nothing. But the stoppage, a lot of people called weird because Herb Dean jumped in and tried to grab De Lima, and then as Rothwell was trying to come to, sort of, he went for a takedown. And when you have, what is Rothwell, 6'5", 6'6", 6'6", and he's 260 pounds, 265 actually is what he weighed in at. So I'm sure he's almost 300 pounds. Yeah. And then De Lima is very large as well. So that's almost 600 pounds about to topple over. And what I saw was that Herb Dean recognized that and just was like, nah, y'all can go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
Because as a ref, I feel like when you you've dealt with so many people who were just knocked out,
Yeah.
and you stop a fight. How many times do we see refs get taken down by fighters who don't know what they're doing?
And they start getting punched and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like he knew what was going on. He
Yeah.
was like, nah, Ben's going for a takedown, but the fight's over. I'm going to just let him get it and then stop it, because if I'm in between those two or if I'm behind them when they fall, I'm going to get crushed.
And even Marcos looked up and was like, it's done. He's like, I know, I'm trying to stop
Yeah,
it.
he looked at Marcos, was like, are we done? And Herb Dean was like, yeah, no, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like,
God.
yeah.
It was a dude. He hit him so hard.
Yeah. I think there was like a total of like 4 or 5 strikes that really landed.
Yeah.
But he was constantly throwing bombs. Ben never had a chance to recover.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ones that landed just shook Ben's whole body, and that's a long way to fall. So
you picked Marcos to win, right?
yeah, I had DeLima by knockout in the second round, I imagine.
I put him by decision, and I don't know why. That was pretty stupid, to be honest with you. I thought they were gonna go decision just because of the way that he fought his fight against Maurice Green, and then the way that. But
well, like I said in the last episode, Ben Rothwell's not gonna approach DeLima like that.
Yeah.
The way that he fought Chris Barnett, and then DeLima's not going to approach Ben Rothwell like he did Maurice Green.
Yeah.
Because he knows he doesn't really have to worry about the takedown.
Yeah, and that's why whenever I was watching this fight and I was checking out people's picks, I'm like, why the fuck would you pick Ben Rothwell to win? I mean, I don't know. I get if
he's always got a chance.
Something like that. I don't know. I just whenever I saw this fight coming in, I what's his name? Ben Rothwell's been on a really really long layoff, and then, I mean, his only past couple wins have been against guys like Chris Barnett or Vincent Prue, who just moved up to heavyweight.
That's impressive though. Like, I know St. Prue's not a true heavyweight, but he's a big dude and he's fast, and that was actually the reason why I had DeLima picked, is because Ben Rothwell is just not going to be able to handle the speed of someone like that.
He has really bad cardio. He's
pretty slow.
Yeah, he's very slow, and he gets tired very quick.
Yeah,
and,
so I didn't expect him to win that fight. But I don't blame people for picking him. I mean, dude, he's a heavyweight. He's a real heavyweight.
Oh no, we're gonna talk shit about him, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
and his weird chest hair.
Yeah, and his goofy ass laugh. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he was definitely a burger line kid. Yeah, I'm telling you. So onto the main event, we had Max Holloway defeat Yair Rodriguez by decision, and I mean, this was a very fun fight to watch. Crazy back and forth. I mean, when was the last time we've seen somebody cut Max Holloway? When was the last time we've seen somebody actually kind of fluster Max Holloway? We see that Max Holloway switches stances a lot, and whenever he
calf kicks, man.
Yeah, whenever we saw him switch stances, Yair had an answer for him every single time. I mean, they were going at it. And also those transitions Max Holloway had on the ground were just nice. They
were real smooth. Yeah. Even late in the fight, when Max was clearly exhausted, they were both exhausted. Yair started looking good on the ground. I was like,
he swept him.
Snap.
That sweep from half guard.
I was like, oh snap, this is getting interesting, because Max is getting too tired maybe, and then Max got a better position and then started doing all kinds of transitions. I was like, oh okay, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, after that fight with Calvin Kattar, I think I was expecting a godlike performance again, but it was good to see that Yair Rodriguez, after a 2-year layoff, comes in and is still able to hang with some of the best guys. I mean, he, besides Alexander Volkanovski as of recent, who else is giving Max Holloway some of the best fights,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's a good fight for Yair. I know he didn't win, but after all that time off, it definitely shows that he's ready to take on big name challengers. He's not trying to take the easy way there and take easy fights to get ready again. He's ready to throw down.
Watching that fight, because he's super unorthodox, but after watching that, what he did with Max Holloway, I feel like he gives Alexander Volkanovski a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a very strong featherweight. I was talking with somebody about that yesterday, and I was like, I think that what Yair is one of the stronger featherweights that Max has ever fought. He's nothing like Calvin Kattar. You're like, yeah, he's long, but he's thick, he has a lot more power than somebody like Calvin Kattar.
The chin of Max Holloway, though, I can't say enough about that. It was so impressive.
Yeah. Punches like that from even from Dustin
punches and
Poirier.
Kicks. Yeah, Max Holloway just doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Actually, I had Yair picked by knockout in the third round, and
close,
he got taken
dude.
down, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, never mind, forget it, that's it.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and just starts throwing bombs at Max Holloway.
Yeah.
Max Holloway's taking him, and he looked like he got rocked pretty bad, and I was like, oh,
He got stunned for
Yair's
sure.
gonna do it.
We-
And then Max immediately put an end to that, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Max definitely looked very flustered with those flurries, and I think that showed something that we don't ever see. You know,
Yeah, he was very flustered.
like he just like whenever like Yair would engage with him, like Max would look confused almost because of how fast and how hard he was getting hit. You know, he would just freeze up, and I was like, damn.
But I think that's one of the things that we talked about was Max always has a lot of openings. He's always leaving himself open. Yeah. I don't know if Volkanovski does that.
Yeah.
I don't think Volkanovski leaves himself as open as Max Holloway does.
I don't think so.
So do I think Yair poses problems? Yes. But I think Yair doesn't have as much success later in the rounds.
Yeah.
Against someone like Volkanovski, he has to get that one done early.
I think I think after watching that though, I think he can definitely beat Brian Ortega though. But the issue is that after watching what Max did to him on the ground, I think that's where Brian's best bet will be is on the back, on his back against him. But I mean, I saw because for a while I've always questioned why he was number 4 in the featherweight division, and it's like that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yair?
Yeah, and it's like no, actually, excuse me, he's number 3.
He's a fucking killer.
And I was like, why is he number 3? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
I do agree with him not being very active. Like you got to start putting him down at some point.
Yeah.
But again, he came back and immediately showed why he was number 3.
I know he did get suspended by USADA for not giving his whereabouts. Apparently, you have to check in with USADA like you're texting your mom.
Like a child.
Yeah. You know, it's like, why can't I just, leave the country for a little while?
Which I think is garbage because you can tell them you're leaving the country and then they're going to ask you, they're still going to ask you, well, where are you right now?
Yeah.
We heard that from Josh Barnett.
Yeah.
When he was like, I told him I was going to go backpacking through Europe. Like, I just wanted to go take a break and be on my own for a while. Mm-hmm. And they kept asking my manager, well, where is he? And he's like, I told you, he's not here. He's in Europe. Like, he's not even trying to compete, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, we're going to do a urine sample. And or urine test. And he's like, I can't, what do you want me to do? I can't get him. Like, there's no way I can do that for you. Why don't you just wait till he comes back?
Yeah.
And then you can test him. Like, he's not trying to compete, so what's the big deal? And that's basically what happened to Yair. He went to Mexico for whatever reason.
Well, he lives in Mexico. Like,
this one did seem a little bit sketchier. I can't remember why.
You know what? Yeah, I remember this now because it was very, very off-putting that he was just like not giving his whereabouts, hadn't competed in a long time. I mean, it seemed like he was almost dodging them.
Yeah, this one did seem a little sketchy, but I mean, jeez, give a guy a break.
He was eating that Mexican chicken that Canelo was. Yeah, with all the hormones in it.
Yeah, really good main event though. Very fun fight. Let us know if y'all think that was better than Gaethje and Chandler.
Also, speaking of USADA, even if you tell them that you're going out of town, they'll show up to your vacation home. They've done it to fighters before. I'm like, that's absolute dog shit. Like,
that's why they were like, nah, but where is Josh?
Yeah.
Oh, is he on some random field in Holland? Yeah, we'll meet him there.
Tell him we're on our way.
Tell him not to leave.
But okay.
So the upcoming card that we have is going to be headlined by Miesha Tate and Ketlin Vieira. Should be a pretty decent card. There's some really exciting fights on that card. The prelims have some pretty notable names as well. We have Terence Mckinney. He's showed that he can be very exciting. A pretty cool story too. He's a former drug addict who has overcome a lot of obstacles to get where he's at.
Also, he fought for Fury, I believe, right? I believe he did fight for Fury, and he took a fight like on really short notice, came in and knocked some dude out on a week's notice. Yeah, because I remember that name.
But he's for sure someone to look out for. And then Pat Sabatini is headlining the prelims against Tucker Lutz, and that'll be another fight to look out for. But opening the main card is going to be Davy Grant versus Adrian Yanez. And that is going to be a pretty fun fight, I'm thinking.
Sorry, real quick. He fought for Legacy, LFA.
Legacy?
Yeah, okay. A month, literally exactly a month later, he came in and knocked Matt Frivola out.
Matt Frivola.
Yep.
But yeah, Davy Grant and Adrian Yanez, that should be a pretty fun fight. Definitely Adrian Yanez's first real, legitimate opponent. Not to take anything away from the other guys.
Yeah, no,
Just Davy Grant is definitely a step up in competition. He's a really tough guy. Very good wrestling, but not a bad striker either. So I'm interested to see how this fight plays out.
This is definitely Adrian Yanez's toughest test to date in the UFC. When I tell that to people, they get all fucking butthurt about it because we went to school with Adrian Yanez, and it's nowhere near a bash on him. He's a great fighter. I'm a big fan of his fights. It's really cool to see him at the Fury fights, still doing the regional scene and all that stuff as well, you know. But Davy Grant is nobody to fuck around with, and he's not easy to put out either. You know, I mean, Adrian's in for a very, very tough fight, but is he capable of beating him? 100%. Is Davy capable of beating him? 100%. You know, it goes both ways. Like, because the other guys that Adrian has fought besides Randy Costa, that was his toughest fight that we've seen. These are the two guys that have posed. I could see posing problems for Adrian Yanez. You know.
Yeah.
And I mean, David Grant's been around for a while. He was a former tough runner-up. He lost to Chris Holdsworth, and Chris Holdsworth was supposed to be the next big thing as well.
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu was out of this world. What does he do now? He does something now.
He's a coach now.
He's a coach?
Yeah, because he got in. Yeah, because he's a jiu-jitsu coach. Because TJ Dillashaw need him in training while he's on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently it's a big accident, but I don't know. Chris Holdsworth came out and cleared the air on that, too. But
he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like an amazing fighter. It was really sad what happened. And but David Grant has a chin on him, too.
Yeah. He gets submitted, so most of his losses, I think, are by submission. Not that he's a slouch on the ground. It's, Chris Holdsworth submitted him, and that's not a knock on anybody's jiu-jitsu game getting tapped by someone like Chris Holdsworth.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, but also Adrian's only 3 losses are by decision. I mean, that dude gets down as well, you know. So I think that's something to look out for. And David Grant has submission losses.
Yeah.
So
so if this one goes to the ground, I'm pretty interested to see, because that's something we haven't seen Adrian deal with a whole lot. Is that's very interesting. We're just looking at David Grant's records. That's David Grant's record, right? Oh, Adrian Yanez. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And we saw he's got a loss to Levi Miles.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, anyway, so it's something we haven't seen a whole lot from Adrian in the UFC is what his ground game is going to look like against someone like Davy Grant, or even higher once he gets higher up. So if this fight goes to the ground, I think he gets really interesting. If it stays on the feet, obviously Adrian's got the advantage there.
Yeah. Adrian also has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Saul Solis, so something.
We just got to see him put it to use.
Yeah.
Start breaking limbs, taking them home.
Put that screw jiu-jitsu on him.
Yeah.
You know, the Houston style jiu-jitsu. Fuck it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting though. How is Adrian gonna be able to stop the takedown with how's Adrian gonna be able to stop the takedown with David Grant? Because David Grant for sure is gonna be going for it. But we've seen him knocking people out before his last fight against Marlon Vera.
Yeah, he started knocking people out. He went on a tear.
Yeah.
Well, like a 2 or 3 fight tear, but you know, a tear nonetheless.
It was unexpected though.
Yeah. So it'll be. I think that's going to be fight of the night. If I'm
sure.
just being real, I think that's going to be fight of the night. I don't think that fight's going to go on very long. I mean, I take it back. Other way, I don't think that fight is going to be fast. I think it's going to go on for a little while. I could see Adrian Yanez. Actually, I think I have him picked already for 3rd round knockout.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that fight's going to go quick. And if it does, David Grant shoots in for a takedown and catches a hit and goes down. Yeah,
Adrian can telegraph shots very, very well. Or any type of like movement. He's really good at it.
He can hide it.
Also, he's like watching somebody. He's really good at slipping in and out. You know, I know we didn't see it against Randy Costa, but still, I mean, I think also with Randy Costa, he expected a lot of kick heavy, and that's not what he got. Also, Adrian Yanez has been training with Aljamain Sterling, and so I'm sure his wrestling is up to par.
Yeah. Sterling has great jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And again, like I assume we're going to see Adrian Yanez use jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we're also going to see, I mean, he's been training with Rob Davalos, really, and that guy has great wrestling as well.
So I assume we're going to see some grappling in that one. Next up, we have Joanne Calderwood taking on Tyler Santos. That should be a pretty good fight. I think Tyler Santos is really making her way up. And now she's fighting someone like Joanne Calderwood. That's a pretty big deal. I think it's a big step up in competition for her. So if she can get past someone like Joanne Calderwood, I would assume they're going to give her a title shot next.
Yep, I think so too. The two I think would be up next. And so
my thing is, I don't think she can beat Joanne Calderwood.
I don't think so either.
Joanne Calderwood is a beast.
Yeah.
She's one of the few fighters that's not a champion in the women's divisions. She's not a champion, but she's always fun to watch. It's like she always gets wins except for the title fights or the title shot fights.
She always loses the most important
It's very
ones.
unfortunate, but that's just how it seems to go. But I'll always tune in to watch her fight. She's really cool, very good fighter.
Yeah, and so Hani Yanyan and Keong Hoon Kong are going to be fighting. I somehow did not fuck that name up really bad. So both these guys are veterans of the game. Hani's been fighting since WEC was around. He's been fighting since like 2002. Keong has been fighting since 2007. Keong's been in the UFC since 2013. So that's going to be an all-around good fight. I mean, I actually don't know if it's going to be a very good fight. We'll see what's up.
We'll see. We'll for sure see. My main concern is if it goes to the ground, because I think they're pretty matched in ground game, but I don't think, because I love watching jiu-jitsu matches in MMA because it's just a more exciting jiu-jitsu match, but the transitions are always exciting and you get to see a lot of that.
And they punch each other.
Exactly. Like, it's more fun. I love watching jiu-jitsu matches, but I think it's more fun when you get to throw strikes, obviously, at least for us from a spectator standpoint. But I think the issue with this one is they're both really well versed. They like to get a dominant position. They're very patient. And I don't think we see a lot of good transitions. So I think if this goes to the ground, which I think it does.
I think it definitely does.
It's maybe not as exciting as I'd hope.
Yeah, and speaking of good ground fighting, co-main event, and I know we're kind of slowly going through this card, but I'm more excited for these fights before the main event, to be honest with you, than the actual main event.
But Devin.
And so I said it. How can you say something that's so controversial, so brave yet controversial? So Michael Chiesa is taking on Sean Brady, your boy, Sean B.
Philly boy.
Yep. And so I'm excited for this fight, but I'm a big fan of Michael Chiesa. I've watched that dude since the Ultimate Fighter.
Man.
I mean, whenever he lost his dad, came back, choked out Iaquinta and everything.
Just choking out everybody.
Yeah, he was on a fucking tear, dude. And I'm a big fan of him, but when I see Sean Brady, I mean, I see a guy who is eventually going to be challenging Kamaru Usman for the title.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I really want... Not that I want him to slow down, but I want him to develop, because as he is right now, he doesn't beat Kamaru. No way.
No.
His wrestling is fantastic, but it's not as good as Kamaru's.
Yeah.
The striking would be sloppy but fun.
Yeah.
But I would just hope, I want him to develop, because if he does become a champion one day, I want him to be able to hold that belt for a while.
Yeah.
I like Sean Brady. He's a cool dude, pretty well spoken. And I enjoy wrestlers who can find their hands but not rely on them too heavily, because we see so much of that.
And that's how Michael Chiesa used to be, and now he sticks to his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu.
So I'd like to see Sean Brady win this fight.
I think he does
really
win
like
it, though.
Chiesa, and I think I hope that he can get on top.
Yeah.
And not give up his back.
Because
keys to victory. Don't give up your back.
That's one of the worst things about American wrestlers, though, is they always give up their backs. It's just habit because of how they're taught to get up. You know, it's second nature. But with Michael Chiesa, I mean, that guy is notorious for pushing the pace and then getting submitted, and I think that's what's gonna happen. I love Michael Chiesa, but I think right now is Sean Brady's time, and I think Chiesa's kind of on his way out.
Who do you think shoots first?
I think Chiesa does.
I think Sean Brady does.
You think so?
Yeah.
And I mean,
because Chiesa's gonna have the length, the range. I think he don't mind staying standing with someone like Sean Brady.
I think when it comes down to boxing, though, I give it to Sean Brady.
Straight boxing, kickboxing, Chiesa.
Yeah,
he just has that down a little better, I think.
Cause,
again, not a knock on Sean Brady. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I just think he's got to develop a little bit more.
But I think with Chiesa, he's just kind of we've seen a lot of holes in his stand up when he fought Neil Magny, even though he dominated that fight. We constantly see those holes that never get fixed. He relies a lot on his grappling, and that's where it gets interesting. As we saw him get taken down by Luka, next thing you know he's in a Darce choke. We've seen Jorge Masvidal put him into a Darce choke whenever he was choking everybody out.
Kevin Lee in a rear naked.
Yeah. Stuff like that, and that's why I think he's going to try to pressure him, and Sean Brady's probably going to be more than happy to bite down on the mouthpiece and throw down with him. And that's where it's going to be a dangerous night for Michael Chiesa, because we've seen even guys like Anthony Pettis sting him, and then they gets him in a guillotine and chokes him out,
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one for sure. Oh, all right.
Surprise.
So I think that'll bring us to the main event. What are your issues with this main event, Devin?
I don't really care for this fight. I don't know. Miesha Tate always puts on a fun fight. Especially with her comeback as she against Marion Renaud. She walked in there and she finished Marion, even though Marion is kind of she was on her way out.
That was
obviously,
a retirement fight.
But I think Kaylin Vieira is one of the next big things in the bantamweight division. She's kind of, her only losses is Yana Kunitskaya. As of recently, I know she's had a couple more losses, but I think she, I don't know. I think there's a lot more exciting fights on this card besides the main event. That's just how I feel about it. But I think it's still gonna be a good fight. I'm giving the edge to Kaylin Vieira though. I think Kaylin Vieira is gonna pull off a stoppage. Honestly,
I think we saw Miesha Tate in her last fight look very powerful, which is something we hadn't seen a whole lot from her career. In this second run of what could be her second win, I would like to see her look like that again. I'm going to pick Miesha Tate. I just don't think she gets it done by submission, though. Mm-hmm. So she's going to have to try for another TKO or knockout, but I don't think she gets that either. So I think it's going to be a decision win for her.
Vieira's been knocked out before.
Yeah, but
Irene Aldana's been knocked out.
Do that. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. What's it called? That's what you did talk about a TKO, and I think depending on how Vieira is able to handle the pressure,
if Miesha Tate can get on top, she wins that fight.
So I think that's something to think about too. If they go to the ground, we know that Vieira is a black belt in judo, and
I'm pretty sure it's going to go to the ground.
So if she ends up on top, though, I give that edge to Vieira.
You do?
Yeah.
Offer back?
If it gets to the ground,
or do you mean if Vieira's on top?
If Vieira's on top, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think, especially with a judo background, we've seen Miesha is very susceptible to hip tosses.
Yeah, we have seen that.
Yeah, a lot, and got her unbroken ties for it. So, but yeah, no, I think Vieira takes it.
Yeah. Again, so I think that's just kind of the key to whoever wins this fight is when it goes to the ground, who gets that better position, who gets the more dominant position on top. They're probably going to be the one to win the fight. And that'll be this upcoming card Saturday. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what your picks are. Not affiliated.
Please don't sue us.
What else is going on in the MMA world? Anything?
Conor McGregor hinted at a fight with Max Holloway.
Yeah. I think Max Holloway's down with it too.
Yeah.
He said he was like, anytime someone says Conor McGregor, like, who makes sense for him, my name always gets brought up. So let's make it happen.
I'd love to see that fight.
I wouldn't mind seeing it too. It'll be interesting.
For sure.
It'll be interesting. It's hard to say because, again, Max Holloway leaves those openings and Conor lives for those moments.
Exactly, and he stings hard with those. Dustin Poirier openly said that he hits hard as fuck.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, I hate saying this, but it's like, do we see the old Conor come in, or do we see
crazy Conor McGregor?
Not that. Not the the karate stance, bro. It's not that. It's, do we see the Conor who, I don't know what is like doing this like old school like swing just punches and try to land a haymaker.
Yeah.
Or that left hook. Like, do we see that, or do we see a calculated guy who's looking for the counter strike.
And that's the thing is Max Holloway fights completely different versus whenever he fought him back. He's 21 when he fought him.
That was a long
7
time
years
ago.
And we see Max Holloway doesn't fight as timid as he used to. I mean, honestly, Max Holloway got punked in that fight. Just getting him straight palmed, fucking face palmed, you know, just stuff like that. Like he did in a way. He was competitive in the fight, but he got bullied by McGregor. McGregor was like 27 at the time, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, probably a little younger because he's only like 32. But shit, so he's like 26. But still, like he was older and he came in there was more experienced, more confident. And we're seeing a Max Holloway right now who's literally in God mode every time he steps into the octagon. I mean,
this was the first time we've seen him really get touched in a long time.
And even then, he was just still like, I feel like he could have finished Yair if he just put more power into his punches. But he fights in a I feel like he fights in a much better Diaz style, just tap you up, you know. And he switches stances a lot, and he still attacks from different stances. He has a very kind of different stance when he comes in there. He fights very like almost like a Muay Thai fighter, you know. The arms kind of high, kind of has his like kind of squared up, ready for a front kick or something. So I think that's something to look out for as well. But I don't know. I think Max Holloway, I won't say he takes that fight, but the push, like the aggression that he's gonna give McGregor is not gonna be. It's gonna be something that McGregor won't be used to.
Can McGregor make 145 again?
Yeah, that's the thing, because I don't really care to see, especially after like this past fight. I really thought about it as like I don't really care to see Max Holloway at 155.
Yeah,
his power does not translate well over there.
It doesn't. But I'll say this: he looked real drained for this weight cut against Yair.
Yeah, it's catching up to him.
And I think, as far as Conor, like, I don't want to see him go down to 145 again. Like, I just don't care to see him at 145. I think it's much more fun to watch him at lightweight. But can he hang with those guys?
Yeah.
I think if he fights Chandler, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him fight Chandler.
Yeah.
If he fights Chandler and he can't handle that size and power, not that Chandler's a whole lot bigger than Conor, but the power is there. And I think if he can't handle that, that's just not your weight division.
Yeah.
Featherweight might be it. But in featherweight, I don't know. I just don't care to see him in featherweight.
I fully believe he's meant for featherweight. He's just too stubborn.
I believe so too. That's what I'm getting at. I don't think he can handle lightweight. But where the featherweight picture is right now, you throw Conor in there and everything's stopped up even more.
Him and Calvin Kattar would be a good fight, because the thing is like Conor wants these money fights, but the thing is, like all these money fights are gonna do is completely ruin what you're worth.
Yeah.
You know, fights like with a 4-3 match with Dustin Poirier, a fight with Jorge Masvidal, a fight with Justin Gaethje. Like, those are all big money fights, but I personally feel like he loses all 3 of those fights.
Yeah, I think his best chance would be against Gaethje, actually.
Islam? No, I'm just kidding.
I think Gaethje obviously has the potential to put Conor away real fast.
I want to see Conor fight Gaethje and Chandler before he goes, though. Because I don't think he has much longer.
I want to see him fight Chandler, because I think that's a fun fight.
Chandler wants it.
It should. Yeah. I don't see why that fight doesn't get made, because Conor wants it too.
Everybody made fun of Michael Chandler for saying that he wanted that fight. Like, oh, see, he just wanted the money fight. It's like, of course, fuck it, why not?
Well, Chandler said that when he first got to the UFC, and it was like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
We thought you were here for a title.
Yeah. I mean, he tried out for the title.
Yeah.
And so I still consider him a top 5 fighter, though.
Chandler?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been impressed with him. I was really happy with him over in Bellator. Coming to the UFC, I have not been disappointed, so I'm happy with our boy Mike.
Yep. Doing us right.
Yeah, what matchups are you interested to see? Do you care if Conor comes back, and who do you want him to fight?
Yeah.
What'd you think of Yair and Holloway? Does it stack up to Chandler and Gaethje? Let us know these things and more in comments on YouTube or on Instagram posts. Follow us, like our videos, subscribe.
Get the Verdict app. Have some fun with us. Let us know your picks.
Add us. I'm Zpocalypse.
I'm Sauced Up 96.
Boy.
What's up?
Peace out.
Chunk Deuce.